Thank you guys for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of formidable vegetable while we waited there for everybody to kind of hop on. So this is the MOKR Mastermind. If you are new to joining us for these, we do these weekly, and it's kind of like an entrepreneurial support group for those working on regenerative projects. And it's great to have you guys here and really start to talk about some of the challenges and our projects that we're working on. The projects that we're working on and the challenges that come up as we work through those projects. So that's what we're all about here on the MOKR Masterminds. And so we'll be getting into that. First, let's just we want to give as much time to Nabil, who's going to be presenting today, but and mastermind his projects. So we're just going to do a really, really quick 30-second to a minute pitch or whatever you want to call it, elevator pitch on what you do and who you are, right? So I will start off. We are Seeds of Tao. My wife and I do this together, Emily, who's in the room as well. And we help entrepreneurs within the regenerative space get connected and work through their business models. And we're also consultants and business consultants as well. And so we do a lot of that work. And one of the things that we do is we hold this space for you as entrepreneurs to present your work and come together and work through things on a peer-to-peer level. So that's what we do. And I'll just popcorn it over to, and we'll end on Nabil because he'll do his presentation. So I'll just popcorn it over to Emily because she's my wife and the other half of me. If she's actually able to. I know she's in the other room tending to kids.
I'm in the middle of dishes. Hold on.
Wait, you already started?
Sorry. Hi, I'm Emily. Wait. Sorry, my kids are waiting for the MOKR to start because that means they can watch a movie while I do the MOKR. So they're like, oh, is it starting? Okay, I'm Emily, the other half, and I homeschool our 4 kids and hopefully are raising the next generation of Permies. Shh, not right now. I'm talking. Oh my goodness. Yeah, super excited to show up. Sometimes it's hard for me to get here while I'm doing dinner for the kids, but we like to multitask. So super excited for Nabil and to hear his stuff tonight. So I will popcorn it over to Richard Bradberry.
Thank you. I'm Richard Bradberry. I'm a rancher in southeastern Oregon, primarily focused on raising grass-fed cattle on regenerative cover crops and on our own lands, which sort of are regenerative by their nature. So I can't claim much for that. I enjoy having kids in meetings. I think any meeting that you go to where kids aren't accepted is a good room just to get out of. So anyways, don't take it. I think that I think it's a good omen to have kids' voices in the back of a meeting when we're talking about the future. So I appreciate it. So I wouldn't sweat it too much, Emily.
And Richard, do you just want to popcorn it over to someone else?
Oh, Marie.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marie Pierre, MP. I am the founder of Refarmers, an organization that establishes small-scale permaculture projects in East Africa and here in East Vancouver, where I'm located and speaking to you from today. And I'll pass it to Carrie.
Thanks. Hi. I am calling in from Chumash territory in Los Angeles. I am an executive coach and systems consultant and have a pretty deep background in sustainable ag and trying to help shepherd us all into a regenerative future and economy, and excited to be here in support of whoever's presenting today.
Care, do you want to call on someone?
Sorry, Amanda.
Hi, everybody. Let's see, in this season, right now I'm developing my art and design business. I'm specifically becoming really trying to make some forward movement with suppliers around having more low impact fabrics and materials in my work. And I'm wanting to use it as a fundraising arm for a land restoration project. That's me, and I'll lob it over to Nicole.
Oh, great. Thanks, everybody. Sorry, my computer is having issues with the camera function for some reason. So yeah, thanks for hosting this, and just look forward for an opportunity just to hear what others are working on. My background's in sustainability planning and human-centered design thinking, and integrating those two realms into a recently formed regenerative design collective. Just embarking on that as of just last week. And so developing a couple of projects still in the very early stages of conceptualization. So just look forward to connecting with others and hearing more about Nabil's project today. Thanks.
Wonderful. Nicole, do you want to call on someone if you can see anybody?
Oh, I am so sorry. Yes, Hung.
Hello, my name's Hung. What intro should I use? I attended this workshop just out of curiosity to hear what regenerative business that is happening, but introduction to myself. So I recently graduated from UCSD with a very long major minor, speculative design with a public culture, urban ecology emphasis, and a minor entrepreneurship. I was hoping to get connected with any urban planner within the regenerative space. So yeah.
Very cool. Later on, we can talk about some contacts that I might be able to share with you, Hung. And Hung, if you could call on some, I think we have Andrew. Is Andrew? I think Andrew's the last person. Andrew, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah, hi, I'm Andrew Francis. I've got the Wallabies Rock Garden, which is a 20-acre permaculture garden in southern Australia. Busy working on part of its aim is to be a tiny house camping place. So trying to do more affordable housing. So just working through all the aspects of that at the moment. So first thing, I've got to get the first structure set up, which then allows the other things to legally exist, basically. So yeah, working through building permits and whatnot at the moment.
Very cool. Good to hear an update, and it's good to see you, Andrew. Okay, Nabil, the time is now yours. So how this works is we're gonna have about 30 minutes of Nabil talking and telling us about what he's working on and what he's done in the past, and give us some background. And then we're just gonna open it up to the room, and this room of wonderful people, to help him work through those processes and help him accomplish what MOKR stands for, the mission, objective, and key results that he's outlined today. All right, so Nabil, let's hear it.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes? All right, so my name is Nabil. I live in Quebec, Canada. 6 years ago, I started growing insects after looking into starting my permaculture farm. We had this idea of growing insects for the future. We heard a lot about insect growings, and how it's sustainable and a different way to look into farming, basically. Now we're 6 years later, and yes, I'm really focused right now on selling. I can show you what I have here at home of insect frass. You know, it's a very like sandy powder product, but it's pure manure, and as you can see, it's so dry that it's perfect for packaging, and it's a very nice and easy way to treat manure because it doesn't have any moisture, so it doesn't rot. It doesn't rot. So it's actually a very nice product, and that has different properties that we're still discovering. So it's very exciting to see how this fertilizer can be introduced in our producing system. I work a lot with farmers here in Quebec. Recently, we just read a report from France that had tremendous results with insect manures, and we're working now with some people here in the wine industry to see if they're interested in getting a fertilizer that is non-soluble, so long-lasting in the soil, and very good to feed the life of the soil. And it's a great microbiological food for the soil. So I think in the last few years, a lot of people had the awareness of soil, and in 2020, I really decided to do something that I wanted to do for a long time. I really like selling manure, but I also like to plant a lot of trees and plants. So I started to think about a foundation to help people saving their soil, and I've came along the Vetiver System 8 or 9 years ago as I was traveling into a Costa Rican farm. I've always thought that Vetiver had great potential and that it was a great solution for regeneration projects. So I started this project last June, and right now I'm really actually thankful to Joshua and the Seeds of Tao to let me to introduce me to this MOKR Mastermind, because it pushes me a lot to follow others' projects, and also it gives me like a time and schedule. Like today's presentation, I had to get some stuff ready that will, of course, help me get this project going. So today I will present like the basics of the foundation, the vision, the mission, the challenge we try to face, what I've been able to accomplish and start since June, and of course, what are the main objectives and goals for the next 3 months. And I hope that you guys will give me your input. So I'm gonna start sharing the screen. So I just have a short presentation. I don't know if you guys have questions during the presentation. I really don't mind you asking them. I don't want to get too much into like the system and all the possibilities and stuff. I just want to get to my MOKR Mastermind and the next 3 months that I have to share with you. So we are in the process of registering the foundation to the Canadian Revenue Agency. We will call it the Vetiver Sans Frontières. which is pretty much says what it will try to accomplish. Um, so the challenge is the loss of soil, because uh, worldwide, if we account all the soil that is being lost, there's no resource that we can invest in creating better benefits than saving the soil. Like just by not losing soil, we're talking about billions of dollars of fertilizer and irrigation systems and a lot of inputs for agriculture. Of course, most of the soil that is being lost in the world is topsoil, and it's the hardest one to get and the most important one. And so I think it's really important for the people that are fighting for the preservation of soil to have investment in different solutions. Um, I don't know if we're gonna actually collapse from climate change. There's a really good probability that we can collapse just from environmental mismanagement. Like we can run out of soil, and we could actually collapse a civilization by having a fungus on our corn, and if we don't have enough genetics of different plants, we could really be susceptible to more diseases. So, environmental mismanagement, such as soil erosion and basically cutting the trees and forests that allows erosion, could really push us to a collapse way before the climate actually change. Um, so uh, uh, we do recognize and that climate change is also a challenge, and the foundation has the vision through planting and using vetiver system to see a world where every actors in agriculture, forestry has the tools to stop the loss of soil and preserve their land and infrastructures and ecosystems from erosion. Also in the fight against climate change, and it's one of the main purpose also of regeneration is to regreen areas that are completely arid or that are that had no vegetation so far. We now have the techniques and technologies to regreen them. And from a marginal standpoint, I always make this comparison. Here in Quebec, in Canada, probably the best way to restore ecosystems is to do nothing. Like nature is really strong here, and as soon as you stop putting buildings, trees, and vegetation restart. But in different climates, brittle climates, it's really hard to have vegetation regrowth after it's lost. So, uh, from a marginal benefit standpoint, if we can regreen arid and desert areas, it actually has a bigger impact on the benefits for the environment. And so, if we can allow those degraded regions to sequester carbon, it will have a very big impact on it. Because right now, all those regions are basically uh, they have zero sequestration of carbon right now. And so, using the vetiver system actually allows very fast regeneration of the land because it allows the main component of life to stay, which are soil and water, and in a very short time, uh, you can actually regrow uh, native spaces. So one of the way that I like to call vetiver system is also passive reforestation. like the number of birds and seeds that get caught in the vetiver system actually regrows a lot of the native species in the tree. I've seen a lot of vetiver system disappear under native forest after few years. And so to achieve this vision, our mission is to help people spread the vetiver system. Um, so vetiver system allows communities to stop the erosion problems on a large scale, and it's our goal to help them research the best way to regenerate the land using vetiver system, and those research is one of our main goals. So our mission is really to get better ways to use it and help them in sharing their techniques. Vetiver system is something that I find really interesting from an economic standpoint because it needs a lot of time and knowledge. Like it's not really expensive. If you want to implement a lot of vetiver, you can really put a lot of money into it and buy vetiver slips, but it's a more effective way to just take your time and implement a few vetiver and implement a nursery near the site that you want to protect. So the only other thing that it needs is the share of knowledge, and we need to help the communities understand the system and create the tools to implement it. So there's also a lot of different systems that could be used with vetiver, and it's one of our mission to find them. So vetiver system can really be useful for like survival farmers, or how can I for farmers that don't work on an industrial level.
Subsistence farmers.
Okay, thank you. Because it's easy to use, and it can really help them increase their crops. Research have shown that 25 to 30% increase of the yield of some crops when you can use it. And this is a great picture actually, because you can see how it works on contour to really improve the quality of the soil. So basically, I'm just gonna give maybe a little introduction to the vetiver system. Basically, vetiver is a species of grass that makes a very massive and intensive root system. So there's different research on the depth of vetiver roots, but actually it will grow almost until it touches the groundwater or tap underground water. So there's different measures that have been taken over the years, but basically you can count on it that vetiver will dig 3 meters of roots in 6 to 12 months, and that's also how it got his name of the living nail. And you can make sure that soil does not go away with such a big and massive root system. And the plant is incredibly resilient. I've seen it survive under snow and frost. They say until -10 almost, a very humid region, very acidic soil, very alkaline, very steep. So it's an incredible plant. Uh, it has two weaknesses. It's pretty much almost the same weaknesses. It's non-tolerant to shade. So if it's under shade for too long in the day, it will die off. And for this reason, I've seen vetiver system also disappear under the native vegetation. As soon as there's other trees and other plants that grows around it, it shades the vetiver, and over time, the vetiver disappears. Um, so because of its uh, uh, presence in it has the capacity to grow under heavy metals. So vetiver is also used to dig or take the pollution out of the soil, some metals and waters also. Vetiver is used to for remediations of soil. Um, so the vetiver system, as it is basically planting hedges of vetiver on contour uh, all along the slope, basically. So it's really there's different systems to create hedges, but the basic techniques is really to do it on contour. I've seen now different models of vetiver system in heavy rainfall uh, countries that use the vetiver system to also pushes the water out their ridges. And I mean, people can also be creative, but the best way to retain the soil as it is really to have it on contour. Um, so there's now one of our on our goal in the foundation is really to play with this concept of the vetiver system on contour to create different models now. Um, so, for example, we want to introduce between the rows, for example, different species of trees or different crops in a companion way. So we would also like to create a system that will allow the machineries to go in between and dig the vetiver, um, but to let enough hedges to stop the soil erosion. For example, most of the vetiver oil that is being used around the world doesn't use the vetiver system, so they create even more erosion uh, than uh, than just letting natural regeneration. So it's one of our goals to find systems that will help farmers actually get a yield from vetiver roots without degrading the soil. Like digging it all is not a sustainable way to do it. So we're working on those projects of being more creative with vetiver systems. Another thing that I know that are being done in countries such as Vietnam is that they use different trees in really in the hedges. Like the plants will grow around the trees and will protect the trees from ants and termites and different insects and pests and also fungi because vetiver oil is really has a lot of properties. So I've seen research with avocado trees and cacao trees, and so there's a lot of experiments that are just waiting to be done. Um, so this is really the basic of our education program. Is really about the plants, how to care, uh, how to take care of the plant, how to take care of the system, how to take care of the hedges, For example, I always advise to cut the vetiver before a little bit the dry season because once it lights on fire, it's really bad. It's like matches, and if you want to plant a lot of hedges, long hedges, it can run off from one village to another. So you want some. You need to teach a little bit of awareness and good practices. And anyway, in a good design, you always have to take care of fire, but cutting it, using animals also to maintain vetiver is also a very good practice. A lot of things are to be still done, and I always encourage people in the regenerative world to help creating systems with it. Um, so the foundation is really focused on researching those techniques by local groups because this is basically how I got all these knowledge is to actually visit farmers, and there's a vetiver network that actually shares, but there's always farmers that are creative into finding new systems, and we really need to spread their knowledge and to share with other communities around the world what they're doing. But the main three component in order to really propagate the vetiver system for me is really finding techniques on planting, on irrigation, and on the logistic. And this is what we want to train and educate more as much people as possible. So um, vetiver is actually not hard to work with. I don't know if a video works.
It should.
It should. Well, anyway, it's really easy to work. You need basic tools and you need basic knowledge on the plant to be able to multiply it. And this is why I say that vetiver it doesn't take a lot of input financially, but time because you cannot order seeds, for example. You cannot just order a lot of seeds and plant vetiver. You need to grow it, cut it, and transport it. It needs a little bit of logistic, but it's really easy to propagate, and people all they need is time. They can plant a little slip and it will grow very fast and they can multiply it. So with a little bit of vetiver and knowledge, you can go a long way into regenerate the land. So the first experiment that we did. Okay. How much time did I take yet?
Nabil, we could get into your MOKR side of things and open it up for discussion. I think we're around that kind of time where we could start opening that discussion up. But if you still have some more, maybe we could wrap it up and then move into your goals
Yes, okay,
and what you're
okay.
working on.
Okay, I'm ready. So okay, we started some experiments really quickly, and so this is going to be one of my goals. So I just want to show you and share with you what I'm working on right now, like as a short-term period. So this is what hydro retenters looks. It's a little bit like a water jello, basically. It's new as a product, probably in the agriculture sector. but it has a great potential, and people have been using it more and more in agroforestry and to implement trees. So basically using hydro retenters to plant vetiver on hedges and see how it works. Um, so this is how it's supposed to be planted. We're just gonna go through this. So this is one of the experiment fields that I'm probably gonna be working on my MOKR. So I'm just waiting because the images are just slow, I think. So this is one of the experiment field of the next system that I will try to implement. So this, you can see that had vetiver and the other one didn't. So now let's get to the MOKR right away. So there is a project that I will be working on for the next 3 months, and the goal is to inspire all the villagers that are working on cattle, that they can change into a model of agroforestry. And to inspire them, there's no better way to create one. And so there's a project that already is working on an agroforestry model, but they're really interested into implementing a vetiver system on the next patch of land that they just opened for that purpose. And so in order to get the villagers to get going, after they got the model, they will need vetiver. So, and we will also need to build a nursery, and to have a better economical input. They're also ready to invest into a oil extractor. So the client or that project would also like a design on a root production for essential oil. So in April, as soon as the rainy season starts, we will try to work on implementing those three systems at Virgin Energia's project in Costa Rica. And so I really need to work on designing, planning the logistic, and implementing those systems by April 21st. So I need to, I really been to the process of what can be like metrics of how I can measure my achievements. So this is their projects, how the systems looks like right now, and we're going to be working on using Vetiver System more into it. So I will just share with you that the metrics that I'll be using. I'm really open to your ideas, because the designing process is really something that I want your inputs on. How can I measure it? And the other thing is that I'm really someone that works on field, and this is why I choose this kind of projects. But to be honest, I also need to work on the foundation administrative side of things, and for the to measure my achievement into the administration it's really tricky for me to get some lead metrics. Um, so the basic lead metrics for me will probably be like how much time I spend finding models and apply those models to the actual project. And same to plan the logistics. I'm already working on a curriculum to help educate the farmers on how they will be able to use the system. And I've been talking with the team over there that will be working on implementing those. So there's of course an opening on how do I measure the work that I put in the foundation in building the in building the foundation itself. So I don't know what are your inputs, but that's it for me. That's how I'll build the achievement model from this.
Wonderful. So that was I had never knew. You know, I have the Vetiver essential oil in my house, and I use it as a grounding oil for me when I'm feeling a little too visionary and whatnot. And so over some periods of times, I'll use the Vetiver oil just to kind of like help me ground myself, and that's kind of all I knew about Vetiver, right? And I didn't know about all the different potential uses. So this was very wonderful just on the aspect of me being able to understand the different functions of this plant and what its potential can do. And it makes sense that with that root system, you could cause some serious damage as you're taking the crop out, right? And trying to replant and do other things there. So finding a regenerative way, I think, would be huge. One of those systems, right, for the project. But let's open it up. And you're looking for, just to kind of remind everybody, he's looking for, and for those of you who are new to the MOKR system, and specifically lead versus lag metrics. If you could go back one slide or to your lag metric of what you're trying to accomplish. So there's a lag metric or the main goal that he's trying to accomplish here. And there is a bunch of lead metrics or things that he actually has control over to affect that lag metric. And so one of the questions that Nabil is trying to ask is maybe how can for his business and for this system, what are the things that he has control over that he can track to show that he is actually accomplishing this objective of getting and implementing 3 vetiver systems in agroforestry model, root production for essential oils, and a nursery for the Costa Rica project. I'm not even sure how to pronounce Vertinegaria. Okay, I'm not even going to try. So he has those projects going on, and we're trying to figure out ways that he can track his efforts in doing that, as well as any other feedback or resources that will help him get involved. So I'll open it up to the room, and we can start the mastermind session of this. Also, if you need to take a small little break to stretch as well, this is probably a good time as we begin to start talking with Nabil in this.
I just have a question. Okay, so the 3 different vetiver systems are in different places, or I don't understand. The Costa Rica project has started that already, and then you're doing 3 different ones? That's what you want?
Okay, so basically, the project I proposed to them is to create a model to inspire their neighbors.
Like a demonstration farmer, yeah.
Yes, but they also want to be able to dig the roots for oil at some point.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So there's a model for turmeric production because they have a turmeric and chicken pea
Oh,
agroforestry model.
that's what was in the picture there, the turmeric, the plants that you showed at the end there, the video. Oh, that's cool.
Yes, so it's a jungle valley,
Yeah.
and they take some trees for a few years. They put turmeric, chicken peas, and vetiver, and after a few years, they just change the valley, and they rotate
Yeah.
like this.
That's okay. So you want to design and implement 3 different ways of being able to like make a production system out of vetiver, and you're going to demonstrate or try it out at this Costa Rica farm.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
basically over there, it's cattle land. So there's one piece that we're going to use as an agroforestry model, using the vetiver to produce turmeric. And then the cattle land that is bare, like there's nothing on it right now, it will be used for a nursery.
Oh, that's cool.
To have more and more vetiver. And probably at some point also, like they would like to have enough vetiver to protect the roads, the school of the village, different public infrastructures. So a nursery will be really useful.
That was my other question. It's like you can't harvest, like they make the oils from the roots, like so do you have to harvest the whole plant, or can you leave some in there and it continues to grow? Like, because that seems like the opposite. Like if you have to pull it out. Yeah.
No, essential oil, you have to dig it all out. It kills the plant. So yes, I have a lot of ideas in my head about how to design a production for. Well, I can share it with you. You know, it's a charity. This is what I say anyway. I make the speech on sharing the knowledge.
The transparency.
Yeah. So basically, no, it's I've seen different systems that have hedges close one to another. So I believe that if we can have a system that have closed hedges, but we dig only one of the 2 rows, there will always be a hedge that will stay in the ground.
Yeah,
and I think we can rotate it.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we dig only one of the 2 heads, and then I think we can harvest every 3 months using that technique.
That's cool. Yeah.
And right now they're using for vetiver oil. They dig every 6 months to 12 months, depending on the country.
Side question: Is there any use for the leaves?
Actually, there are different use for the leaves. You can use it for cattle. They use it for roof thatching, I think, in English. I'm trying to show you different. I'm trying to show you different stuff on vetiver, but basically, vetiver leaves are very good for. They're quite good for cattle, but I don't know that they're any use for human consumption, for example. It's really a thick grass.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
I kind of have a question about connecting your vision to the Vermeer system, because I remember that I thought naturally you're supposed to tackle the topsoil issue that we currently have, as you know, constructions, every day, anything involving with advancing urban areas usually damage the topsoil, and I kind of assume that we're trying to kind of working on a product to kind of restore, kind of help anchor the topsoil, something along that. I don't think I'm making sense, but so what was your goal of your vision about the topsoil connecting to the vermin system?
So yes, Vetiver System. Actually, I don't know if I was clear enough on that, but the hedges they stop the topsoil. So the topsoil when there's rain or when there's a heavy rain falls, and it runs with the water and it stops with the vetiver. So over time, you can even see like the soil getting flatter around the hedges, and even over more time, the vetiver will create terraces because it will build up the soils around it.
It sounds like it kind of acts like as a soil catch area too, right? So if you have a degraded hillside, and this is where I've heard you talk about it more, Nabil, is you have a degraded hillside, you plant the vetiver in, and instead of that soil falling down that hillside, it's going to stop it and build it up, and again, like you said, terrace it, right?
Yeah, it was in the slope diagram, like near the beginning. Yeah.
Yes.
But if you're harvesting it, isn't that undermining the soil restoration slash whatever? Isn't that kind of counteracting what the soil protection piece?
It sounds like there's multiple roles the plant will do.
Yeah.
So if you dig roots, it's not going to protect the soil, but if you leave the plants in, it is. So as long as you've got succession planting, and it sounds like what he was talking about, do multiple rows, only harvest one at a time, let the others do their job. Maybe you'd have to leave some in there permanently to make sure it does the permanent swale and connect and protection. So it sounds doable. You just can't let one plant do everything. Well, one instance of the plant, the species can. Anyway, sorry.
So sounds like it sounds like one product, but many different business different usage just to secure. There's just so much things to tackle.
Yeah, and so because Nabil is tackling this, his main business, and maybe this will help on the clarity too. Nabil's main business is as an insect farmer, right, in Quebec, and that's his main product that he's creating. And so what he's doing with this is really a charity, and it's to start to find ways and better uses of the vetiver plant, and maybe even because of the issues with the current way that it's being harvested, that he can, with the charity, be able to help find better ways of harvesting and using the plant for its other benefits rather than its root essential oil, right? So I think it's really fascinating that you have this dynamic, and MP also has this dynamic because she's a nonprofit working, and this is a new space for Nabil. So maybe there's some ability for, because Nabil's been largely for profit. Maybe there's some background in this room as well, because I know Nabil is also asked for help in that region. But just now that we have an understanding of the project, yeah, I love these lines of questioning and helping us to dive deeper. If we can, let's see. A question for you, Nabil, is like what do you feel like strengths obviously is the understanding and of the system and understanding of being able to test and kind of validate in your system and being on the ground and farming. But you mentioned also that you have difficulties with the administration side of maybe running a charity and those types of things. What's your strengths and maybe weaknesses that maybe this room can kind of help help you to play on your strengths and also to strengthen up your weak areas or help you to move forward there.
So yes, one of the main reasons I've joined basically Seeds of Tao is that you guys start to understand what I do and how I work this. I work on this, but everybody's always asking me what's the story, and this is something that I haven't spent time at all writing on it or thinking on it. I'm really into like designing nice systems, plant systems, um, logistics on planting. This is something that I really like, but I don't know about the story. Like, and this is something big now because every time I try to have people coming into the foundation, I have to create a research team and different teams around it. I have to talk with different people over the internet, um, and even a lot of them are already convinced. But all, everybody wants to hear the story. That's basically it. And I just say that soils are important. That's pretty much the story around it. So if this team has any inputs on, telling a story about how to start a charity for regenerative purposes, I'm all here.
Isn't wait, out of curiosity, is it possible we can do restorative under something, under like a legal system, kind of dedicate one area to a certain purpose? That way, I don't know, for example, let's say let's make this town the reference model or dedicate to a purpose or something. Not sure if I have that Not sure I have that question, thought process for develop battery. Hmm.
So, and maybe I can add to that, Hung. I think there's a lot of uh, potential for, because your story is just really starting right now, and the story for what you're creating and having the pieces of it, I think right now is making sure that you're documenting well, and that you have a lot of material to track, right? And that you're telling, those daily stories, like here's what I and giving updates consistently, right? And I don't know, I know you're not one to be in front of a computer doing stuff, that you like to be out doing the work, but that would be one of my maybe biggest um, things that I see people fail at when they're trying to create a movement, is that they don't track the details of what they're doing well enough, right? And I'm guilty of this in my own journeys with businesses and ventures that I take on. That throughout the process they're not tracking enough and not getting enough data that they can start to share stories, and then they're not telling the daily stories that are coming up, and they don't spend enough time out there actually saying it. And so maybe there's a way, and maybe you can chat with us about what it is you're currently doing to talk to people, and what's working for you and what's not working in that line as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what's your biggest challenge? Like, what's your challenge right now, really?
You're muted, Nabil.
Yes, well, right now, this is why I just said that my challenge is to tell the story, because there's already two people that asked me yesterday. So that's something I work on. But to be true, the real challenge is what I've put in the MOKR. I have to really start designing a nice a way to get people in a short amount of time to work on those projects, and I want to be able also to design a nice model for that place. So and also being far from it, you know, I'm in Quebec right now. The project is over there. Actually, the MOKR helps me, you know, get on track. I have to think about it. I have to take some time, but I need to schedule some time to really like focus on this. So basically, what I've put in my lead metrics, hours spent on finding nice models, hours spent talking with people, you know, on logistics, and over Zoom is not something that it's that easy. So there is mostly that.
I think a good way to start, like for me, when I built the website, it's like a really good way to convey your idea. So and to tell that story, because I was also getting stories, let's say, of like partners that we were working with and their permaculture projects, and putting it all on the website so that people had a clear idea what this was all about. So like maybe it'll help your exploration, and then at the same time it's actually like getting another thing done, because you have to come up with like wording that explains it, and then all that's done. And if you have to do like any kind of promotional material later or whatever, and you can build like a free website without much knowledge. I don't know, you don't have to do the website necessarily, or even just make like a pamphlet and get pictures together, because that's a good way to like narrow in on what your story is.
Yeah, and I really like it because it's all the whole challenge for me is all like presenting the project, you know, talking about it. Not doing it is nice. I really like it, but talking about it, almost like promoting it to other people and spread the word is almost like a job in itself, and I have to almost like schedule it. You know, I have to schedule like I said, is working on the foundation, you know, and working on presenting it, starting is like this. What I did today actually had to push me a lot into putting into a piece of paper what I'm trying to do. It's probably like the first time I had to do it actually, except for the revenue agency, you know, which is not that long, but like I understand that I have to be really clear on what the Vetiver system can do, and I have to find better picture, because I don't think it was that presentation I did today was that clear on this. So it's already a good feedback to have, and I have to work on presenting the system better. So I have to do more presentation.
I think that was good. What I also I know about it, like I already have a bit of a background information, but seeing like the roots, and that's really cool, because I have not, you really see the power of it to be able to like hold soil. It's like makes so much sense. I thought that was really good. And I remember the first time you talked about it, or you talked about being in the desert somewhere in Algeria, I don't remember. And then the farmers kind of, you told a story, like a personal story about watering, possibly. Remember that story you told? And they basically discovered the idea they had to kind of just learn from experience. And I don't know how to weave that in, because I don't clearly remember the story, but I remember it was kind of community driven. And I like that idea of like how the community members are the ones that are the drivers of this change. And that's what you kind of used as your inspiration to want to do this work. That's it.
Thank you, MP. Thank you.
Can you tell that story? Is it quick? I want to know now. Remember? I want my facts straight.
I don't remember the story, but was that your story, Nabil, or was that something? Because we've had several stories on different projects.
So it was
What,
his story.
are you okay? I don't remember the story as well, and maybe that might be helpful. But having a collection of different stories, I think even if they're not your own on the Vetiver system, it would be impactful. You know, Corey, you turned on your camera. Are you wanting to say something in here as well with the conversation? You know, I'm finding it going back to kind of the storytelling side of it. Your presentation opened my mind to lots of different possibilities, right? And there was some intrigue that you built there just by showing the dynamics of this plant. And what I'm curious about is, you know, is there a way, and story is a platform or a system in itself, or a pattern that you can use, right, for looking at it as a pattern for you to share what's going on. And some certain things in that pattern are, you have the hero, right? And so I didn't quite understand in your story, if we're just kind of critiquing the story side of it, who is the person that you're actually creating this for, right? And really start to, you talked about working with farmers, starting to hone the story for that particular, if it's farmers, great. If it's communities, and I think that's kind of where MP was kind of going as well, is like, if there's a story that brings things together of who this is for and why it's going to be transformational, because stories, we love them because they're transformational. We can see progress in a hero's journey, right? And when we know who our hero is, you're not the hero, right? It's the and Vetiver System isn't the hero. The Vetiver System's the product that's going to help that transformation to come. But I guess the question is, Nabil, who's your hero? Who particularly are you saving? Is it the world? Is it, you know, like, and if it's the world, like, does the world have a voice? How, what does the world need, want? You know, is it, and I shouldn't say world, Earth? Is it actually a group of people? Is it communities, farming communities? Yeah, I'll leave it at that, and I'll let you answer who's your hero.
Well, I understand that this is a panel from people around the world. Here in Canada, or at least in Quebec, there's a very famous movie. It's a cartoon. Is called The Man Who's Planting Trees, and it's really a very basic cartoon. It's just a man who is planting trees for like all his life, and at the end of his life, he had grows a forest. And it's almost like a fantasy, you know. It's almost like all the regenerative dream come true. But right now, anybody that take a shovel and some planting bags can regenerate a lot of degraded land using just some slits, uh, waiting enough time, and knowing the technique of the system. That's all you need to actually regenerate your land. So it's just anybody that takes, you know, a shovel, bags, and knowledge and time. That's all you need, and you save the soil. That's basically it. You know, it's the presentation started on this. Um, we lose billions of dollars of topsoil each year, and all of our civilization, you know, is based on topsoil. So we're just throwing it away. Um, it's not saving the world. I mean, the world is gonna do fine without human. I can assure you that. But human are not gonna do fine without soil. That's pretty much it.
So the hero, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's and the story in the U.S. or is Johnny Appleseed, right? It's the similar story of like a Johnny Appleseed who planted all the apple trees all over the area, and it's kind of a true story as well, but it's been turned into kind of a fable in its own, right? And you look at people that are interested in that. Your hero is like these regenerators. It's us, right? It's these people in this room who really want to create some change. And so maybe with your charity is the voice. Are you directing? And so here's some of the other things. You need donors. You need people to be able to do this to help you move forward in a bigger way later on. Some of that is people don't necessarily get to have that opportunity, right? To go plant, but they do have the opportunity to work with a charity that is going out there and is hitting the ground. And so basically your hero is, and correct me if I'm wrong again, these people that are trying to create some type of change, right? To to reduce the deserts, to green the deserts in a sense.
Yeah, I think focusing on where you're going to use that vetiver system, like where it's going to benefit the most, is really good, because that farm in Costa Rica is so lush when you present it. It's like, but that's like where the demonstration is. But to see that system working in like desertified areas is amazing. And yeah, and I was thinking it'd be great to focus on I was just reading about it, that it's a great like fodder for animals, and it's actually really highly nutritious, like compared to alfalfa and even everything else that could be fed. So maybe presenting it to farmers as opposed to like having to rip it out. But I mean, it is maybe a lucrative business, but so can, farmers need a good way to nutritious feed for their animals, and that'll make the animals produce more milk and all that. So maybe it could be pitched as that more so than like, yeah. What do they use vetiver for other than the essential oil, like for lotions, and what's it used for? Like, is it medicinal?
I know it's not medicinal. It's not something that you will ever inject, but is external. It's good for skin, hair, hydration, anything that is external. But it's especially the smell. Like, people are crazy about
that
the smell.
for sure.
Yeah. I have to tell you that before this trip, I just thought that vetiver is okay, but now that I've put my hand into the soil and into the roots and all, I can't get rid of the smell. I even bought like vetiver essential oils, and I just spread it around my house every day almost.
So the roots actually like smell like that already, like without having to be like processed or infused. They just have that smell. That's so nice.
It's really bad that you couldn't show on the video, but when you dig the plant out, as soon as you put the shovel in, that's it. You can smell, because you're cutting through the roots, and it's all day when you're planting vetiver and taking it out of your bag and putting it. At the end of the day, your hand smells vetiver. It's great. And so the perfume industry is really onto it. But the next smoker, I think I'm gonna do it on the Comorian island. I've someone reached me from the development program of United Nations, and he wants to see if I can work some associations in the Comorian island. And it's crazy. Over there, they're growing ylang-ylang, which is another very expensive essential oil. And the goal is to try to create an agroforestry system using vetiver to grow ylang-ylang. And we have to find some wood trees for burning purposes. I want to see if they can grow black locust, because they burn a lot of fire to distillation, and so they're cutting all their trees, and so they don't have enough trees right now to stop heavy rainfall, and it creates problems. So this is supposed to be in June. So right after April, I have another 3 months. I think April, May, June. I'll try to present another MOKR on that other specific project.
Yeah, that's really a good idea, because I mean, to find a way to make that business like regenerative would be like the main thing. That's, well, at least feeding animals with it is like a closed loop system, but like with the finding a way to do the best thing with it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge opportunity for its current use of vetiver is finding a way to make it a more resilient or more regenerative crop rather than a extractive use, right? And then, I mean, there's just so many different things that I think really what you started on was, and what your main goal with the project is soil health, right? And that kind of desertification and that next project might be a good part of that story, but having a good, and now that you're getting involved in it, I think it'll be really cool to see. What I was going to get to is your key metrics that you have is like, can you share? Like, is that, can that be a metric as you're building this, is to at least share once a week on the things that you're learning and share the stories that are coming up as you're working on this, and make it consistent. Like, so you're not involved in it. So it might be something that is a little bit out of your control, but you might be because you might be talking to them in Costa Rica, and as they're evaluating it, getting stories from them, and then being able to share those stories in a blog or whatever it is for your, because I know, are you able to build a website? I knew you're waiting to start the charity to be able to build a website, because that was law, or that was what a lawyer was telling you was best.
Yeah. But actually, yes, Vetiver System allows anybody that is willing to take a shovel and bags and learn to be a regenerator. That's pretty much it. It allows anybody that is willing to go with it. So there's different people that I've told the story of the foundation that told me that they would be really willing to just follow me into the next project, just because they want to do something good, but they don't know what. Basically, it's not their field. They just haven't studied into this kind of field, and they still want to do something good. So I think it gives me like the opportunity to maybe take someone with me that is not involved into it, and actually have him told his story about his experience into just taking some shovels and planting vetiver. It could be, I think, it would be a nice way to tell the story. I mean, anybody could actually help with this. What do you think about that?
I think that's a really cool way to do it. And maybe over time, like, you have parties that you built the charity would actually fund a project or fund it, travel to a project, and someone could get involved in it, right? Or a local area could you could teach a local area, and you can share that story of them actually doing, similar to what MP's doing with her grandmothers, right? And she's got, hundreds of stories now, just to be able to with these small, scale down projects that she's doing, right? And so that's another maybe thing for MP is like, how do you share all of those stories?
Yeah, because the story is not about us, it's about them, right?
Exactly. It really gets people understanding the concept when you have other people telling the stories. I love that, and how they they learned about it and their epiphanies, because it's nothing better than like a person who just like realized something really cool and then tells other people about it. And they're so enthusiastic, and yeah, it inspires other people to want to learn about it or get into it as well.
I know it's been MP and I and Nabil chatting, but I know we have some good thoughts in here too. Jeff, Andrew, Corey, Joel, Mary, if anybody wants to add to the conversation, we're kind of wrapping up, but you know, some of the things that I've learned just to kind of come from this is like, Nabil, like this is a really amazing project that you're working on, and it's opened my mind to some different possibilities. I can only imagine you sharing this is going to open the minds to others as well, right? Because I had no idea. I just knew about the oil, right, before we met, and then you opened my mind to the potential of what this plant could do. So yeah, just wanted to share.
So can I ask a question?
Shoot, do it.
How would I get some? I'm down in Colombia, Bogota, Colombia. And this isn't just my challenge for this particular plant. I watch a lot of videos and see fruits and plants that I have no idea how to obtain down here. So maybe if you can explain how I can get this plant, it might help me get more other plants that I'm looking for or hoping to get someday.
Well, for the vetiver, at least, because you cannot order seeds. So this is not going to be easy to order online, for example. But the best way to do it is probably to go on the Vetiver Network International, and they actually have a database on all the projects on which have been working with Vetiver. And it can be a challenge for you, but I know that in some projects that I'm looking to do, it's going to be like a super big challenge. Like some countries have Vetiver only in one place or one university or research center sometimes. The good thing is that they're always willing to share, because it's not that hard to just dig some slips and give it to someone, and people, they actually want usually to propagate it. So it's not going to be a matter of money. And like you could see in my presentation, this system is not about money. It's really about finding the slips. But I'm not going to lie to you, it could be a challenge. I don't think you should be in Colombia. I think there should be enough projects around to get your hands on vetiver.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you know Russ Manning? Love Grows Eden. That's their permaculture. They're in Colombia, Corey. And he, I'm sure, knows like so much about that too. And he's very knowledgeable. They give permaculture courses and stuff. I don't know where, but.
Yeah. What was the name again?
Love Grows Eden. And
Russ Manning. Yeah.
I can't find his website. There's no website for it, but they're on Instagram, and his name is Russ Manning. And I can put, if I find, and also there's a conference happening this weekend, self-promotion, but I'm speaking at it, but Russ is putting it on. And there's a Colombian guy from an indigenous tribe right beside where he lives is also speaking, and he works with indigenous tribes as well. So this is really interesting. And it's this Sunday called Generation Regeneration. I'll put the link up for that. Actually, you can find his info on that website. Let me just put it in the chat.
Okay.
There.
I forgot that he was out of Colombia.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been living there for 5 years and have a 13-acre something permaculture farm. And so they would definitely know about it. Or
well, that'd be great.
Yeah.
If I could just get connected like that, that'd probably help me with a whole lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. He's really friendly. We had a chat just like by meeting here actually, because Josh was like, you should talk to MP. And so he's a very personable guy.
Okay, thank you.
So Nabil, kind of to wrap us up with your MOKR and to kind of move you forward in this, we talked about getting your metrics lined up and how you're going to track those. To next week, we're going to have another MOKR. In fact, Amanda, who was on and had to leave early, she is going to be presenting next week. But once we have a free time when there's not someone presenting, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about metrics and creating dashboards and a place to hold our metrics. So as we come back on and we revisit our MOKRs and those that have done MOKRs, we have a place, and I'm going to start to hold us a little bit more accountable to the metrics and us being able to share those metrics on our Slack channel and within these meetings, right? So that's kind of our next steps, Nabil. If you can start figuring out a way that you can start tracking your metrics, there's a really great tool for tracking time that I use. That's an app on your phone or on your computer, and that's Toggl, Toggl. It's a free app that, because I know you have a lot of ones that are tracking time. That might be a good one for you to start tracking time, and then you could run reports on that and share that with the group, for example, right? And throughout periods of time. We're going to get a little bit more, for those of you who are new, this MOKR presentation is really just the first. It's kind of like an application to starting to work with the group. You can come and you can listen to stuff and you can comment on things, but really to get engaged is to start your MOKR. And Nabil or MP and everybody that's done it, Mary's done hers. That's where the work starts, and being able to start tracking our efforts is a big piece of that. And so we've been doing this for a little bit, but I haven't been holding you guys accountable to your guys' MOKRs, and we're going to start doing that. And so we're going to be doing some training on that as well, and how we can have our own dashboard, be able to see it and see our progress on our objectives, and be able to share that progress as well. Nabil, thank you so much for this wonderful project that you're working on, and really enjoyed it. Opened my mind up. Thanks again.